My name is Jeff Lutz. I'm an account manager for Genex. We're here at Dahlman East River Dairy. Dahlmans are 100% Genex herd. They're breeding a lot of beef in their cow herd. One of the reasons that we've moved to beef here on their herd was inventory numbers, just the number of heifers we needed. We were creating far more than we needed here, and the cost to raise replacements is very high and going higher. So we started to use some beef here, and over the years we've just continued to increase that to we're at the point now where only about 20% of the breedings on the cow herd are to sex semen. So it's sex semen, and then all the rest of the breedings are to beef semen here. And then all the heifers are bred sex semen for 2 services, and we're getting all our replacements and everything we need right of that. The conception number here on sex semen runs in the 60s, just above 60%, and we're using that on a sync program. All those breedings on that sex semen is on a sync program that helps get those high conception numbers. On the sex semen, we are sorting the cows based on their genetic level. So the top half of the first lactation cows genetically are the ones we're picking out to breed for sex semen on their first service. So those are going to be our highest genetic animals in the herd, and that's why we're kind of sorting them that way.
Hi Dan, thank you for having us. Can you give us a little bit of introduction about yourself and your farm?
Okay, I'm Dan Dahlman from Dahlman's East River Dairy. My dad bought this farm when I was 1 year old. It'd be 57 years ago.
Wow.
With 15 cows, and now we are over 3,000 cows. We have a robot farm up the road here a little ways. We got 320 head there, milk cows there.
So when did you start to decide to use beef on dairy at your operation?
We probably the last about 4 years ago we started using beef. Slowly got into it, and we did it more and more, and now we're using all sex semen for just the ones we want heifer calves, and everything else is getting beef. So
Oh really?
probably 3/4 of our calves born here are beef.
Oh wow. And what made you make that decision?
Just more or less the extra income on the calf sales. They're worth quite a bit more on being beef compared to the Holstein bull calves. We're just using sex semen on the heifers, and then everything else is beef.
Okay, gotcha. And in terms of their results, health-wise, financial-wise, how is the result turning out for you?
It's been working out really well. The calvies, I love it on the beef. I have definitely less calving difficulties now that we have beef and sex semen with the heifer calves.
Okay.
For calving wise, it's definitely less difficult than there was before with all the big bull calves, Holstein bull calves.
Okay. All right. And then do you set the crossbred calves in a separate pen, or do you keep them separate?
They go in a separate pen here for a few days, and then they're picked up 3 times a week. So.
Okay. And in terms of feeding for the calves, do you do anything different?
Nothing different on calves. They get fed pasteurized colostrum as soon as they're born, the same as any other calf would.
And once they've been picked up, they go to a third party, a calf raiser,
Correct,
right?
and they go to a calf raiser. Yep.
Gotcha. And what about death rate? Have you noticing any difference?
It's been less actually, with the calvings being easier.
Oh, really?
Little smaller calves, it seems like, compared to the big Holstein bull calves. But we're under 1% death loss.
Oh, wow. So. What about like sickness in general? Are they, health-wise, are they?
Yeah, they're just as healthy and spunky as everything else.
Okay.
So
what do you see as the industry or your neighbors with this beef on dairy program? Do you think this will keep growing?
Oh, I think it will. Yeah, there'll be more and more of them using all beef. It's just the way to do it. It's a lot more economical raising beef that way and stuff instead of a Holstein bull calf. You got a nice beef calf.
And then if you do have a Holstein bull calf, do they sell for much or?
Yeah, they bring significantly less.
Hi Jay, good morning. Can you introduce yourself a little bit about you and your operation?
Yep. So Jay Hall, and started raising calves back in '95 on this facility. Born and raised in the dairy industry in Lower Michigan. Moved over here and did a couple other jobs, but started raising calves in '95 with a 13 calf hutches in my backyard, and grew into this facility now, which we are capable of raising around 8,500. So at the moment we raise heifer calves from 20 different clients.
So how many of the 8,500 is beef cross animals?
So here on this facility we probably only have, it's only We have probably about 350, right in there, 350 or so. But we pick up beef cross calves and we disperse them to other people that raise them for us, and we pick up right around 400 a week.
Okay. And how early do you pick them up?
They're 12 to 24 hours old.
Oh.
They have to have 2 feedings of colostrum, and then their navel's dipped and an EID in them, and then we pick them up.
Okay. And how long do you typically keep them until you send them off?
About 5 days.
Okay.
We make sure they're healthy and strong, and they're up and drinking well. If we're not raising them, we move them on to another facility that raises them up to 350, and then they go to a feed lot after that.
Got you. And for the beef cross animals, once you pick them up here, do you feed them differently than the dairy calves?
Well, we don't. We feed them the same. They get, a 2220 milk formula. It's half whole milk, half milk replacer, and then they, we don't start them on grain because they're within 5 days before they go home.
Okay. And have you ever calculated their average data gain?
So the first 5 days, we don't really calculate their daily gain. The calves that we raise, when they're on milk, they'll run 2 pounds a gain easily. We raise 800 of them in Lower Michigan, and them are all beef cross. They are always at a 2 pound a gain or better by the time they're at 90 days of age. So we take them off milk at 60 days, but we keep them until they're 90.
And do you think that's different from dairy calves?
Definitely is. We get a better rate of gain, less treatments. They have just a hybrid vigor, it seems like. We have less problems with them. We don't have to dehorn them. There's just some advantages that we like with the beef on dairy.
Yep.
It works out very well for us.
And do you see that as a trend going forward? Like, do you think you'll be picking up more and more?
No, we are every day. I mean, every time we talk to our dairies and different clients, there's less heifers. There's more. There's just the heifers that they're raising are precise. They're genetically they're the heifers that they want, and we raise them, and then the rest is all beef cross. The Holstein bull is just less and less desirable because the beef on dairy calf, the beef cross calf, is just it's more efficient. It uses less feed to grow, and it's just a better calf. It's just more efficient.
And in terms of a death rate, have you calculated that part compared to a dairy animal? Do you run into that much?
So the death loss in the first 5 days, when we get them, there isn't a whole lot of difference between the Holstein calf and the black calf. It's very similar. We don't lose very many. I mean, because they're usually 12 to 24 hours old before we pick them up. So if they're gonna die or if they're plugged or something wrong with them, we know that it's already happened.
Got you. And in terms of cost, what do you think is your number 1, number 2 cost here at this operation?
Well, between it's labor and feed is our number 1 and number 2. And if we can, create calves or develop calves that take less labor and take less feed to grow more pounds, that's what we're looking for.
Hi Shane, thank you for having us. Can you give a little introduction about yourself and your facility?
Sure. Yeah, my name's Shane Tiffany, and I am the CEO and president on Tiffany Cattle Company with my brother Sean. We are primarily a custom cattle feeding operation with 3 different facilities in the east central part of Kansas.
Sounds great. How many animals do you have, total animals currently?
Our one-time capacity in our feedlots is roughly 35,000, so figuring 150-day turns, we'll feed somewhere between 70 and 80,000 head this year.
And how many beef on dairy animals do you have?
That's a very small portion of our business right now. It is growing some, but we probably feed about 2,000 head a yearly.
Yeah, and what do you see the difference between these animals compared to pure beef animals? Advantages and disadvantages.
Well, some of the advantages is highly consistent, right? I mean, known genetics, known sources, and so you're going to get far less variability in efficiency and performance and things like that. The other advantage is high marbling, high quality. We do have tremendous success with them on the quality-based grid. Some of the disadvantages versus our large portfolio of beef cattle is, they're going to be less efficient. They're going to perform at a lower level. So the dressing percentage is calculated based off of live weight versus hanging weight or carcass weight. And just due to the nature of having the dairy genetics in them with the deeper rib, the bigger guts, for lack of a better term, because of their dairy background, you're not going to have as high a dressing percentage. So the average beef dressing percentage industry-wide is typically calculated at around 63.5%. And on these dairy crosses, you're probably going to be in that 61.5%, something like that.
Yeah. And what's the daily average gain on these animals, the crossbred animals?
So the crossbred dairy cross animals, if you say a 2.5 to a 2.7 gain is probably really close, with the heifers being towards the lower side and the steers being the higher side. So once again, they're not going to perform like a beef animal, but cost, as long as you're on top of your purchase price and your marketing, there can be money made even with that lower performance.
So what would be a comparison on beef side?
The average on our beef side, it depends on the time of year, but if you lumped everything in annually, you're going to be about a 3.2 to a 3.3 on a heifer, and maybe a 3.4 to a 3.5 on a steer.
Gotcha. Yeah. And this is obviously open-ended question. What do you think the future of the beef market will be? Will there be more organic, or what are the trends?
Yeah, I think that the overall society, not only in the United States and the consumer demand, but worldwide, is that there's much more of a push and a desire to know where your food comes from and be more health conscious and things like that. And so whether or not the science backs it up or not, I believe that there is going to be a bigger push towards more natural, more grass-fed, more things like that.